Hello YouTube, and welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about this part that I've designed, created, and shipped to California for my boss back in California. So this piece is called a backstrap. It's part of a subunit for cellular towers for climbing, mounting, and fixing up. Or not fixing up, but building. And this guy's gone through 3 redesigns. Let's give you a good view of that. It's a pretty basic part, and this one isn't actually the final product either. It's a prototype of the final product. So, kind of want to talk about that, but at first I want to show revision 2. So as you can see, it's not quite flat. It's been pulled up by the welds on either side, shrinking the metal and pulling it in. That was probably one of our largest problems with this piece, because we're not welding it as this individual piece, we're welding it as a long line. And then it's being cut down kind of like a sandwich, like a large Subway sandwich. And so when you're looking at it as a large piece, you can really see the bow. When you cut it down to this little piece, you only see this little bow. And so why did we want to change from this to this? Simply ease of manufacturing. It significantly cuts down all the time of making it. Because for this, we had to cut 3 different parts, clamp them all together, and then weld them all down. And keep it from warping as much as we could. That was very problematic because we have to weld the outside, then you have to weld the inside. And then you have to grind the inside so that the first part that touches isn't the weld, it grabs around the pipe. With this, we get a flat bar that's been laser cut to the perfect length, gives us the right hole distance, and then the right radius around the edges. And that's all done. There's 1,000 pieces in 5 hours. From there, it's hit with a 1-hit die, which gives it this beautiful shape. So that was done with a forming die. The forming die is this guy. And this guy. And then I had to cut this part off. That's another story though. Both of those blocks are about 15 pounds each of just straight steel, which is pretty cool. So, as you can see, this part slips in just like that, and then the next block comes down from a hydraulic press and forms it to the shape. And so it forms all the parts once they're laser cut in 4 hours. So in total, it takes 9 hours to form the piece, form the unit. What we're wanting to have done next is to galvanize the part. And I'm not handling that, they're handling it somewhere in California. Because my boss wants to keep some of them so that they can be welded on without getting any galvanized poisoning. And if you've ever had that, it feels like your teeth are being kicked in by a mule. It's very unpleasant. And so why do we weld them? Some of them we're making cross connects with, which is 2 backstraps put 90 degrees from each other and then welded. This allows us to connect pipes at 90 degrees from each other and it helps make some of our structures. And we also make some structures for holding cellular devices, for cell towers with these guys. So what were some of the problems that I had designing this guy? So when it starts out as a flat bar, and then it goes to be formed, it actually grows in length. This is done by what's called K-factor, in which one side is shrinking and the other side is growing as it gets pushed down, which ends up stretching out the metal and making it longer. Hey, how you doing? Doing good. Trying to make a YouTube video.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's something. Have a good walk.
You too.
So K-factor. And with each time that it gets bent, it grows a little bit. This guy started out as 6 7/8 when it's a flat bar. And it grows almost 7 1/4 inches if you measure from here to here to here, here and there. Not really something you think about, but when you're aligning these holes from the flat position to this three-dimensional dimension and have it line up with the next part, it gets a little complicated. And the math that I was given online didn't work the first time. It actually took me this many attempts to figure it out. Yeah, that was a hot day in Missouri. But I'm glad that the forming blocks came out on the first time going through. So what are these guys? It's a 1/2 inch laminated block of steel, where I'm making multiple layers of this 1/2 inch steel that's then all butted up together, aligned with these pins, and then welded together. And then that gives me a strong laminated block that I can put 50 tons of pressure down onto to form this piece. And there you go. So how well did these hold up? Not bad, and they're totally good for another 1,000 parts. There is some wearing around the edges where it got the most movement. Probably can't see that, but it's there. And it creates some little stress marks, not stress marks, but it leaves some marks on the steel when it rolls over it. Easiest way to fix that is just weld over it and then just grind it back into shape. Pretty easy fix. So why did I have to cut off a good 1/4 of it? They deemed it a safety hazard at my work where I had these formed, which I found to be unnecessary. It was designed so that when it's put into the hydraulic press, it holds the piece in between these two little lips, centers it up, and you can then take your hands off and hit the button, let it press the part out, and no problems there. They wanted me to be able to hold on to the piece while the press is coming down, and that way you can't hit your fingers or anything. I didn't like this method. I'd rather just set the part in there, take my hands off, let it do its thing, take the next part, which would be a flat bar, knock it out, and set the next part in, and let it do its thing again. but ultimately I don't have a hydraulic press yet, so I have to go with their rules. And, yep. For making the hydraulic press the next time around, I'm not going to use half-inch steel. I'm going to break it down into quarter-inch steel, and that will give me a smoother edge. I don't have all of this blowout. I think part of that was because I'm an employee rather than a real customer, that they just wanted to hurry it along and they just blew through the metal. So what's next after this? So as of Monday, tomorrow, there's going to be 1,000 of these units in California where my boss is going to receive it from the freight line. And he's going to then take X amount, galvanize the rest, and probably have another order of these within the year. I'm then going to work on to the next sub-assembly, which is literally right over there, but I can't show you that yet because it's going through some patents. Kind of what it is. So I don't have a whole lot of videos of me, or I don't have any videos of me making this part due to having it done through my work, and I can't videotape me working. But with the money that I'm getting from this job, I'm able to buy a hydraulic press and a 3D printer, which I'm hoping to make more videos with on my own time, unrelated to work, and move forward on some of my own prototypes, patents, and just ideas. So I'm hoping to get some good videos with that, and